Good morning. It is my great pleasure to be kicking off this third annual Arizona Space Summit. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jessica Rousset. I'm the Executive Director of the Interplanetary Initiative at Arizona State University. And again, it's our pleasure on behalf of ASU and Interplanetary to welcome you all. It's great to see so many familiar faces, a lot of new faces here today. And also, I want to welcome folks that are joining us through the live stream throughout the day. So excited to be here with you all because it is just a pivotal and exciting time for the global space sector. We're seeing, an incredible pace of innovation, technological advances that are dramatically dropping costs and increasing capabilities, and a lot of this is being driven by commercial ventures. And I think by some estimates, our space economy is going to reach, I think, 1.2, maybe $1.8 trillion in about a decade, right? Fueled by data and connectivity and amplified by this dynamic interplay between international competition and cooperation. So there's a lot happening, and today my hope is that we'll all learn a lot more about where the space sector is going, and I think most importantly, how Arizona can maximize its influence and its impact on the growth of the sector. So we have a great group of folks today. It's a very mixed group, right? We have researchers and entrepreneurs and investors, government folks, students. We have all kinds of folks here, and it's going to take all of us to put Arizona on the map as a space hub. But I also think that it is critical that we not lose sight of our responsibility to make sure that every Arizonan also understands and experiences the economic benefits of the great work that we all do here together. So I think we have the right people here to achieve all of these goals, and I invite you all to bring your ideas, your insights, your perspectives to the conversation today. So we will have many panels. There will be Q&A time for each. So we absolutely want this, to be a conversation. And, to state the obvious, we are experiencing a lot of rapid change and uncertainty with this new administration. So no doubt we're going to have conversations about what this means for the space sector and particularly for commercial space. And that's good. That's good. So on the plus side, you have, Jared Isaacman and Elon Musk and deregulation and more funding for defense and national security. On the flip side, at least right now, we're experiencing market volatility that's affecting many companies, including space companies. Hopefully that's going to be short-lived. Perhaps more concerningly, a drain of knowledge from our agencies, potential deep cuts to our science budgets, and then shifting geopolitical alliances. So just a lot happening, a lot going on. And therefore, I think, us coming together as a statewide coalition to make sure that we understand what these changes are and how to prepare for them and turn challenges into opportunities is a great opportunity today for us, right? A good goal for us, and to really ultimately forge ahead. And we have a lot to celebrate. We have great momentum. I think the summit is a good example of that, as well as the appointment and announcement of our Arizona Space Commissioners, right? Several of them are going to be here throughout the day. The commission is going to be a very important driver in sort of setting the strategy and executing the strategy for space growth here in Arizona. So I do encourage everyone to meet the commissioners, engage with them today. We also have just an incredible program for you all. We're going to be actually kicking it off with the state of space in Arizona with several commissioners on the panel. We're going to be exploring how we can work more closely with other high-growth, high-tech industries and learn from them, specifically the semiconductor industry. So that should be a fascinating conversation. We will, of course, no way around it, talk about capital and raising capital and how we can do that leveraging the amazing research institutions that we have here and unique infrastructure. And a lot more. We have a lot of, really amazing topics and speakers throughout the day. Excited to welcome the mayor of Phoenix right after lunch, Mayor Gallegos, and hear all the great work that she's doing to drive and push Phoenix forward. And then we will have, I don't know if David Anderman's here yet, a really lovely conversation also after lunch with David Anderman, sort of weaving through topics including investment and space tech and narrative and storytelling. And so that should be a really fascinating conversation. So I'm really excited to kick off this day with you all, but I do want to say a couple things before we get started. Let me see if I can. Okay, yes. So it is wonderful to see these summits, grow year over year, and this community growing, because I think that is really what makes us successful, are the relationships and the community that we have. But we do want to engage throughout the year. So I ask that you whip out your phones at some point during the day and take this very brief 3-minute survey. It's going to be really good information for us to inform additional ways to meaningfully connect throughout the year. So please take the time to do that for us. We'd greatly appreciate it. And I think we'll be drawing three names and gifting some prizes, which we'll announce at the reception this evening, which I hope you all stick around. It's going to be a long, action-packed day, but it's going to be great and worth it, and look forward to celebrating this evening as well with you all. Let's see. Next, we can't do this on our own, obviously, and I think the summit is just a wonderful example of how we collaborate here in Arizona across the state. So big shout out to all of our partners. It's been wonderful working with you. I want to thank you for donating, volunteering your time and networks to put together incredible programs year after year. So thank you, and of course, a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Without the financial support of our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to bring these amazing events to the community. So with that, it's my privilege to introduce and to hand the baton over to Dr. Pete Worden, who's going to be our host and MC for the day. So Pete, first of all, welcome, and welcome back to Arizona. You certainly are no stranger to Arizona. I'm going to read your bio real quickly and then invite you up. So for those of you who don't know Pete, Dr. Pete Worden is the chairman of Breakthrough Prize Foundation and the executive director of the foundation's Breakthrough Initiatives. He holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Physics and Astronomy from the University of Michigan and a PhD in Astronomy from the University of Arizona. After several U.S. Air Force positions and a research professorship at the University of Arizona, Dr. Worden was the director of NASA Ames Research Center, retiring in March of 2015. And then from 2017 on, Brigadier General Worden has been an advisor to the Luxembourg Space Agency, and was appointed, and I think this is just so cool to read, so he's appointed as a Knight Commander of the Order of Merit of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. And that is so cool, in 2018 for his space services. Welcome, Pete. Thank you so much for guiding us through these awesome conversations throughout the day and for being here with us, and welcome back to Arizona and the community.
Good morning, everyone. I have to say, as a University of Arizona graduate, I'm deep in enemy territory here. But we're all friends in the space business, so I'm really delighted to be here. I was asked to sort of set the stage about space. Jessica did a great job, but let me try to add a few quick things. A lot's happened, as we all know. As was mentioned. People like Mr. Musk are close to the president. In fact, maybe the other way around, the president's close to Mr. Musk. But this is the first time, I think, that space has been so close to the seat of power. So there's good and bad news there. But we can talk about that over drinks. Mostly good news. But a lot's going on, and in the last few years, and Arizona is right at the forefront of this, and it's going to be even more so. Just to kind of mention a few things, launch vehicles. There's 2 major launch vehicle companies now that are completely commercial, SpaceX and Blue Origin. And there's another one that I should sort of point out, since I kind of work part-time for Eric Schmidt. He's now the CEO of a major company, Relativity Space, and will There's also other companies like Rocket Lab and so forth. So the commercial space launch and access to space, it's lowering the cost of getting to space. That is a major, major breakthrough. Second, let me talk about space science, because that's my own background. In the last couple of years, there's been some really neat missions that are led in part or wholly from Arizona. The OSIRIS-REx brought samples back from an asteroid just over about a year and a half ago. That was led out of the University of Arizona. The Psyche mission is on its way to a metal asteroid, which has enough metal to bankrupt everybody in the world. So that you can build, lawn ornaments out of platinum if you ever get the metal out of it. And that the PI is right here at Arizona State. The James Webb Space Telescope, which is revolutionizing our understanding of the universe, is the PIs for a couple of the instruments are from the University of Arizona. The second major thing that's going on, as we all know, is the defense challenge. We are under challenged both commercially and militarily by a number of countries, particularly China. Arizona has long played a major role with companies like Raytheon and dozens of others that in the defense industry, and I think that Arizona will play a major role in that. Other things that are really big here and are of great interest are space resources, the mining industry here, and I see my colleague, the Consul General of Luxembourg, who I work for part-time, but Luxembourg has started a space resources initiative about a decade ago, and this is an area that Arizona, I think, in its industry is going to be really, really significant for. Biotech, you first might not think biotech's important in space, but in about 2 weeks, I'm organizing a conference for the German equivalent of DARPA in Berlin about using biology in space, particularly to potentially terraform Mars. A lot of exciting stuff going on there. Ag, you wouldn't think agriculture is a big deal, but if we're going to live on other worlds, we're going to have to grow things. So really, really major effort. And one of the other things, just to kind of, since this is my own background now, I work for billionaires. My job is to extract money from them and give them to you, with a small rake-off for me. But I'm the chairman of the Breakthrough Prize Foundation. We give the world's largest science prizes. They're $3 million, or about 3 times the size of some Swedish prize I'm not supposed to mention. And a week and a half we award those. As of the first of the year, I worked for Schmidt Sciences part-time. Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, is putting a lot of money into science, particularly space science. So, rather major effort that is a new funding thing, not just commercial. Now, I'd like to close with 2 really brief things. We're on the verge of settling other worlds. This is the last generation now that will find that humanity is confined to one planet. Within a decade or 2, we'll have settlements on the moon and Mars and maybe other places. This is a major new opportunity. Second, we're about to discover more about the universe. One of the reasons I'm in Tucson is because it's the center of large optics. They're busy building one of the world's largest telescopes. The current world's largest single-mount telescope is in Arizona. We'll be using that. And they're beginning to do work on space telescopes that would be launched here later this decade. So this is a very, very exciting opportunity. We have challenges and we have opportunities. So I'm looking forward to working with you to see what we can do in Arizona to make Arizona even greater. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Sally Morton. Now, she's the Executive Vice President of Knowledge Enterprise at Arizona State. Now, I talked to her a few minutes ago, and she said, there's a long bio here. She says you can read it. So she wants me to introduce her as, here's Sally.
Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, good morning. So thank you so much. Thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Pete, especially for that wonderful introduction. Thank you to all of you for being here. So I am Sally Morton, Executive Vice President, Knowledge Enterprise here at ASU, which means I'm responsible for research and economic development across the university. It's a big ecosystem. We have over 180,000 students here at ASU, about 6,000 faculty, and about 30,000 employees. And like our sister institution, University of Arizona, we've just crossed the threshold of $1 billion in annual research expenditures in FY24. And much more important than the dollars, I always say they're easy to measure. As Pete did mention, I'm a statistician by training, so I'm always measuring things. Dollars are easy to measure, but what's much more important is the impact. And at ASU, we always refer to our charter, and the part of the charter that pertains to what I do is research and discovery of public value accountable to the communities that we serve. And there is no more important time than now to communicate and show the world the importance of academic research in particular that improves everyone's lives and all that you are doing. And I'm so inspired by the future that Pete painted. All that you are doing is important to everyone's lives across the world. So when reflecting how we do this with respect to the space sector, I thought about what differentiates Arizona. So first I'll focus on the power of collaboration. The Arizona Space Summit has implemented a really transdisciplinary model under Jessica's leadership that brings subject matter experts, all of you, together from across Arizona, letting go that competition between the different institutions. I always think of them as our sister institutions. There's probably competition between some of the companies that are here. But here we're coming together to think about how we can really continue to put Arizona on the map with respect to space. The summit engages over 200 attendees, and I think it's growing rapidly. Since the first summit convened in 2023, you've really created a community and a culture enabling Arizona to become one of the 4 national hubs offering a novel space accelerator program, Space Edge. So congratulations for that. Additionally, as Jessica alluded to, the state legislature passed Arizona House Bill 2054, which reauthorized the Arizona Space Commission. And I think you're going to hear from some of those leaders later today. So thank you all for your continued engagement. I wanted to highlight some of ASU's space missions because I'm here at ASU and programs that really benefit from your partnership. So we're really committed at ASU as at our sister universities to advancing space exploration and particularly education. I always say we do a lot of research at ASU. Hell, I'm the head of research. But the single most important thing that we produce is our students. So we always try to have our students as our partners to walk alongside us in that research and discovery journey. So I'll share a brief overview of 3 ASU initiatives which are related to the future of space. First, new space, and I didn't see Dave Thomas here. Is Dave here? He'll probably be joining you later today. And Jim Bell, who I was actually with at Jet Propulsion Lab just yesterday. Jim Bell is the head of New Space. It's an ASU space and technology science initiative which really tries to advance private sector space exploration and technology. Second, Milo, which is led by Dave Thomas, is an ASU-led partnership with Lockheed Martin that tries to expand accessibility to space globally. The purpose is to really increase the chances of space enterprises getting off the ground, both figuratively and literally across the world. Third is the Interplanetary initiative, which is led by my colleague, Jessica Rousset. It explores what does the future of humans look like in space and really tries to tackle major societal challenges, including governance and policy and so on. There are also several differentiators here at ASU that can really directly assist and benefit all of you, and I wanted to highlight just a few. First, the compact X-ray free electron laser, we call it the CXFEL for short. It's being built here at ASU. When I was a graduate student, I used to work at the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center, analyzing data there as I was working on my PhD in statistics. And you can think about the CXFEL as you've taken 2 miles of slack and basically condensed it into a room about half this size. It will produce movies of biomolecules in action. We'll be able to visualize drugs really binding to cancer cells and understand how they're working. It'll greatly enhance biomedical imaging, and it'll show how cell structure really resolves at very high level, and it will be much more precise than the most advanced CT scans. But you might ask, what does that mean for the space community? As I was thinking about this, samples that you bring back to Earth could be looked at with the CXFEL. And I also think that the CXFEL would be able to discover materials like quantum materials that could be very beneficial to you as you build instruments and so on to be used in space. The second example is the Psyche mission, which Pete alluded to. I took the opportunity to look online to see where Psyche is. It's about 181 million miles right now. It's in the constellation of Libra at this point. And I had the great good fortune to be in Florida. It was my first rocket launch. Wow, is all I can say. It was actually delayed. You know, Psyche went through several delays, and so we get there, and it's supposed to launch on Wednesday, and I'm going to some event, and on the radio I hear, there's a hurricane, take cover, and I'm thinking, just like Psyche. But anyway, it gets delayed, and I said to my husband, I shouldn't stay, and he said, no, stay. And I was so glad that I did. It took off on Friday the 13th, so right in keeping with Psyche. But anyway, and you've heard about the other missions led by University of Arizona as well. Third, and this is something that I've done a lot of work in, Phoenix is really microelectronics central. There's been over $200 billion invested in private sector funding in Phoenix since 2021. So we're thinking about the TSMC fabs and of course Intel and all the companies. ASU leads the Southwest Advanced Prototyping Hub, or the SWAP Hub, which is part of the Department of Defense Commons. There are 8 hubs across the nation. SWAP has over 120 partners. NAU and University of Arizona are partners as well as many companies, Sandia National Lab, and so on. We also, in partnership with DECA Technologies, lead SHIELD USA, which is one of the packaging microelectronics projects funded by NIST and the Department of Commerce. It's about a $100 million project. The third element to what's going on is the U.S. Department of Commerce and NatCast, which is the operator of the National Semiconductor Technology Center. There's a lot of acronyms. The NSTC chose Arizona as the site of their third facility. It's the first national lab to come to Arizona. It will be in the ASU Research Park in Tempe, very near our macro technology works. That is a major announcement and a major move forward for Arizona. That will be about a $3 billion investment over the next several years. As I said, this is the first for Arizona, and we'll have all 3 things here right in the state: research, development, and prototyping, and of course, workforce development as well. And later this morning, you have a session on how the space industry can collaborate with what's going on in the microelectronics, all that energy there. So it's about what's happening with the prototyping, how you could use that in your instruments and all of the work that you're doing. But I also think there's another part of the conversation. How did this happen for the semiconductor industry? What can you learn? Because I think you're maybe a little, I don't want to say behind, but you're in a different space in your development. And what can you learn from what's happened with semiconductors and all the companies that are coming here, and just be part of that energy and kind of lift off in the space? I know you must have space jokes there from a non-space person. So as mentioned this morning, at this moment, we're really navigating some uncertainty. I come in every day and say it's going to be a great day, and about 1 hour in, I'm sort of, we've faced terminations of projects here, stop work orders, and so on, particularly with respect to USAID. And it's had an impact on people, fellow colleagues here at the university, but far more important for me is the impact I think it's having on the nation and for the USAID projects on the world. But I think, so there's just a lot of uncertainty with respect to federal funding. Pete alluded to it, but I share your optimism, Pete, particularly in the space area. I think this is a tremendous time for opportunity. So rather than being on the defensive, let's be on the offensive. At ASU, we remain committed to really fulfilling that university charter. We need to change the ways that we collaborate across our state, our nation, with industry, government, national labs, and other partners with outcomes that are significant not only for us locally, but also nationally and globally. And I think Arizona, all of you, this community, are uniquely positioned to navigate this new environment. So thank you for allowing me to join this important discussion today. As together we grow the future of the space sector in Arizona, I encourage you, indeed I challenge you, this group, to continue fostering innovation and working together as a collective toward a statewide space strategy. And as I always say in Knowledge Enterprise, we never have retreats in Knowledge Enterprise, we have advances. And I think this group is the same, so advance. We really advance at ASU with the ASU Charter. We're defined by whom we include, not whom we exclude, and their success. And we advance in Arizona to understand our universe, to train the next generation of space scientists and leaders, and to support our communities with technology advancement and economic development. So thank you for all you're doing, and best of luck for a wonderful summit today. Thank you.